Continuing our coverage of the always fascinating Trimet board meeting, they are now discussing bus lanes, I guess. Transit priority, let's see. Transit priority spot improvements, road lane projects, enhanced transit corridors. You know, I'm going to quote one of my favorite Twitter accounts. It's Headways Matter. Headways Matters. At Headways Matter. Run more buses and trains, motherfucker! You don't need any of this shit. You need to run more buses and trains. That's what you need. Run more buses and trains. None of this shit's necessary. Especially now when 60% of the goddamn ridership is down.
And then the work that we've been doing to make sure that we can work with our partners, implement the projects through the STIP funding and through
look at this. You know, what is this shit?
So with that, I'm going to hand it over to...
I mean, we're really living... I mean, do people understand the bizarre times we're living? We have this whole set of elites up here going about their business as if nothing has happened in the world. For them, nothing is. It's all been good. But then there's the bottom 50% that are struggling. And then there's the 20% that are literally out in the ditch and dying. And nobody gives a flying shit about them at all. But here they are. They're making all their grandiose plans. Look, we're going to make it all nice for you. Yeah. It's all pork for them is what it really is.
April to talk about road lanes. April?
Thank you. Thank you. And indeed, this is a true partnership built by many hands. And I thank you for this opportunity to share with you today more about this. I wanted to start by acknowledging former Commissioner Chloe U. Daly, who saw the urgency in making our transit system better. And
yeah, they kicked her ass out of there. It's too bad. I guess she was all right. I don't know. No politician is a good politician. Okay, none of them. You're not going to be able to do anything that helps actual people using the structure that's set up. Anybody who thinks you can vote your way into making the world right is sadly deluded. And anybody who thinks these governmental structures are for you is sadly deluded. None of them are. They're all feeding themselves and the people connected to them.
Pushing us to kickstart the Rose Lane project. She received vital assistance from her group of transportation justice advisors, and thanks to their input, the Rose Lane project puts people first, especially Black, Indigenous, people of color, and transit-reliant community members.
I'm all in favor of all of the, of people who have been locked out of the money port, getting the money port. But this is getting a little tiring at this point, to have to hear every single meeting the same fucking line about people of color. And, we hear the same line over and over and over and over and over. And then you wonder why Trump gets power, because people are going to react to this, and they're going to feel threatened. I mean, do you have to keep saying it over and over and over? It's like the thing from Hitler. If you just keep saying something often enough, people will believe it. So I guess they're trying to convince us that somehow there's some equity in the world when we know otherwise. There's no equity in the world, and it's going in the opposite direction. It's not going like we're getting more equitable. No, we're getting further separated apart, and it's not by race. It's by money. It's by class. That's where things are dividing.
Members. So I want to thank Commissioner Joanna Hardesty, who has wholeheartedly embraced this project, and we're very grateful for her support. And I want to thank you, the Trimet board, Trimet leadership, and staff, Jamie and many others, for the support of Roads Lanes and other key examples of our collaboration, including the Division Transit Project, through the Enhanced Transit Program and the Transit Priority Spot Improvement Program. Through the pandemic, reliable transit has served as a vital resource.
Reliable transit? What are they on, drugs?
Frontline workers have relied on it to get to their jobs, to help all of us. People have used it to access medical care and other essential services or daily needs. And in the most challenging time in Portland's history, it has kept our city moving. As
Jesus
we
Christ.
emerge from this pandemic,
Oh my
we,
God.
PBOT, don't see the importance of transit decreasing. In fact, it will be more
You
important.
don't see the, you don't, before the pandemic, folks, 6% of commuters use Trimet. Now, after the pandemic, it's less than 3%. So it doesn't really have any effect on your region at all, truthfully. Okay, it doesn't. But they're doing what government does. They're projecting these images that are just false. And there's nobody to stop them. There's no way to stop them. There's no investigative media anymore. All you have is independent bloggers who are pretty much locked out of the discussion and throttled in terms of who can see my material.
Important than ever. More than ever to meet the needs of a recovering city, address climate change.
Recovering city. If you looked around, I just seen some videos of Portland. Man, there's a lot more problems in Portland than COVID.
And make progress to build a more equitable community.
Here we go with the
We need
equity
transit
shit
that is
again.
reliable, fast, frequent, as well as safe, accessible, comfortable, and affordable for all. And we look forward to working with you
They just lie.
to achieve this
they just lie,
together.
man.
And we'll highlight this first slide, which I think is one of our high points of transit priority and partnership with the county, Trimet, and the city to convert a lane on the Burnside Bridge headed eastbound to get your buses moving and all the people on them. Next slide.
What they got? Let's see.
So the Roseland Project is PBOT's vision and action for making a bus and streetcar travel faster and more reliable for all Portlanders and beyond. This is a map of the primary Rose Lane Transit Network that was adopted by City Council in February 2020. And it is intended to boldly expedite and implement the city's enhanced transit corridors plan with a sense of urgency to address climate change and racial equity.
Equity, here we go. Yeah, sure, equity. Yeah, right.
So Rose Lanes are really the transit
over
routes,
and over, and it will actually happen.
Buses and streetcars get.
Yeah, you see black faces in high places, but it's not helping the underclass. Doesn't help the underclass. This is no longer a society that's stratified by race, although the police state definitely targets the minority population, but the economy is now the main dividing instrument of the ruling class. And they keep talking about equity. There's no equity, okay? There's no equity. I don't care how many times they say it. It's all crap. It's just never-ending crap coming out. No matter what government official it is, Trimet, Wheeler, Brown, fucking Biden, it's just bullshit that comes out of their mouths. All of them.
Priority on the road in the congested areas. That doesn't mean that all Rose lanes or bus-only lanes are for a min-to-end, but really for pulling from over 20 transit priority tools, some of which Jamie highlighted earlier, depending upon the context. And go ahead, next slide. We are guided by our better off measures.
Listen to this. This is, I mean, really, people of color will experience average commute times comparable to white people. I really don't think the transit system itself is discriminating based on race. It treats all of its riders equally bad. Oh boy, let's hear her talk and say it.
Outcomes for people first. They were developed with a results-based accountability approach to racial equity. We aim to reduce disparities between Black, Indigenous, and people of color and white people, and while doing so, improve outcomes for all. And
like some template that gets put into every single government thing now. They say this in every single governmental project, is this whole spiel she's giving us.
Leading with our measure to have more comparable commute times for people of color compared to whites.
I don't think, really, do you really think that the transit system is serving white people better than black. I don't think that at all. The only thing is the fare enforcement is where that discrimination comes in. But the transit system itself, give me a break, man. I mean, they have less service to the black communities. I don't think so.
And the rest flow from there. The next slide, thank you. Yep. We are taking a pilot approach as directed by council with this, which across all the new proposed projects. And this includes a 4-step approach in installing pilot projects with low cost designs and materials, monitoring performance, and monitoring and modifying, as needed to refine or mitigate for impacts. And help decide what to make permanent. So working towards the success and perfection as a part of the process of the pilot. And our partnership with Trimet is critical to this approach as well, to understand and track the transit performance through the pilot and report on that. Next slide. And a bit of a status update where as of December, when we rolled out our online open house and engagement with a status report, as of then, we had 16 projects completed, built in 2019 or after, 18 projects that are funded and in progress, and 25 proposed projects, many that are new, that we're looking to identify future for implementation as funding is available. And so we've been unveiling those 25 and continue to work on what we can advance next. And that is, all of this is often in partnership with Trimet to help deliver projects and Metro.
Think of all the money going into this, the planners, the engineers, the bureaucrats, the directors. I mean, this is all a money-making opportunity. Okay, this is what it's really about, folks. I hate to keep saying this, but I know the truth.
The regional program as well. And the next one, thank you. This is a map of all of these projects that I just summarized under the Rose Lane umbrella, and the indication of their status. And then it also includes that primary transit line network of Rose Lanes. It is a snapshot from our interactive map, which launched in December, so you can go and visit this and click on projects or lines and learn more about them. And I would take note that these projects are located in the city of Portland, but benefit bus lines that extend far beyond our city limits, and we're happy about that and hope that you are too. It's really regional benefit at our heart. And I'll begin by highlighting, though, some of the anticipated benefits within the city of Portland based on our estimated analysis. So we do anticipate faster, more reliable transit network. Next slide. Once we can implement all of those completed, funded, and new proposed projects, we will save several minutes for Rose Lane transit lines. A couple of the transit lines could save over 7 minutes from end to end. And we save time across the system. So all benefit from the projects, even more than the transit network. There's other bus lines that are going through those projects. And so that benefit extends beyond even the Rose Lane network. Next slide. Then this time that we save means that people can reach more places in the same amount of time, or go even, reach places even faster than they could before. On this map, there's two maps. One with the pink shading. People in the darker pink areas can reach more jobs and places once we complete these projects. On the other map with the blue shading, jobs and places in those darker areas can be reached by more people. So this means that there's greater access and opportunity for people and businesses.
A bunch of crap. What are you talking about, lady?
jobs in the city as well as
pie in the
beyond.
sky nonsense. Run more buses and trains.
This is at the heart of why we're doing this and how we hope to continue to monitor
Baloney.
the potential benefits for people. And on to the next slide. And so to wrap it up, to let you a little teaser of what's coming soon, we are soon to publish a public involvement report of what we heard during our winter engagement, and a one-year progress report on summarizing some of what you've seen here and more, as well as continuing to update our interactive map to track the status of projects, and then additional public involvement in the project areas as the project advance in places across the city. Yeah. And I encourage you to visit our website to learn more, sign up for updates if you're interested. And as well as see that you can take transit to get your vaccination at the Oregon Convention Center. I look forward to doing that soon. And I will turn it back over to Jamie. Thanks.
Thank you, April. I'm going to do just a really
April.
quick wrap up. I know that we're short on time, so I'm going to make this fairly quick. But I just wanted to highlight some of the benefits of this partnership with the City of Portland. So we often talk about the big three, which is the first three projects that we were able to implement, and we were able to implement them before the pandemic. So we were able to evaluate how well they're doing. A couple things I just want to note is that while these improvements are localized, they're small, and they're in a specific location, they have benefits that reach beyond that location. So with the big three, we were impacting transit riders from Beaverton to North Portland to Malala to Oregon City to Gresham. And so it has far-reaching benefits beyond just the localized implementation. What we saw was that there was a pretty great travel time savings within those segments. So for Madison, the average during the PM peak was 40 seconds. That actually is about a 60 to 70% travel time savings.
40 seconds. Woohoo!
26 to 76 travel time savings in that segment. Northwest Everett was another one of the top three, first three, and it was 1 minute and 12 seconds on average. And the bus lane over the Burnside Bridge was almost 1.5 minutes. So pretty significant travel time savings. One thing we were able to do before the pandemic was we did an onboard survey of our riders on the projects that we had implemented. And what we found is that
everybody sitting here is making $200,000 plus a year. I guarantee you, all of them.
Riders loved it. People loved the bus priority. Another interesting thing that came out of this survey was that while people were only seeing 40 seconds to 1.5 minutes of travel time savings, it was perceived of over 5 minutes to over 8 minutes of travel time savings.
Oh, you see? So it was actually 1 minute and 20 seconds, but it was perceived as 5 minutes. You see, it's the old, here, look here. It's better than it is.
So every second on the bus means something to our transit riders. Another interesting note is that we asked people if they were riding more or less, and 11% of those surveyed said they were riding more. So this really proves that we were meeting our goals of increasing ridership, improving transit speed and reliability. We also were able to ask them some open-ended questions about what the feedback on the bus priority lane was, and it's really great to see that these are really hitting a lot of the goals that we have both for Trimet, for the city, and for the region. Is allowing the travel time savings to spend more time with my family. Really, this is how we can go to combat congestion and climate change. Really providing that incentive to go downtown more. And
I love you.
Things.
Here, look,
and generally speaking,
yes, I love you, Trimet. And there's a little 3 thing. Oh my God, oh, Jesus! I want to pull my hair out. I got what's left of my hair. Yeah, everybody's in favor of the bus lanes. Why is it so complicated? Just put them in there. But remember, 97% of the people drive a car. Okay, so not everybody's going to be happy.
Thinking that people were really happy and loved the ETC, the transit priority benefit that they were getting. So with that, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to come and give you a briefing. We really appreciate it. And here is some more information on the Rose Lane project through the City of Portland. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, well, thank you. Mr. Board Chair, are there any questions or do you want me to continue on?
Let's pause for a moment, see if there's any comments or questions by the board. Great report and presentation, you guys. Really
lovely,
it.
great, fantastic, great. How much money?
Today's a day of kudos. I don't mean to be
Here we
playing
go.
one note,
Let's
but
key
boy,
up
oh boy,
the goddamn
great information
cheerleading.
on all fronts. Congratulations to
Cheer.
both the Trimet staff and the City of Portland
congratulations.
staff.
You're all fucking
just
great. You're
tickled
great.
pink
You're
to
great.
know
You're the
that
best
we have
there. Great.
two different council members who have helped us shepherd this to this point. And of course, it wouldn't have gotten here without your leadership, Jamie and April, in what you're doing to really bring this forward. So this is all fantastic news, and congrats. Fully support it.
Okay, enough of that. Okay.
I'm not hearing any other comments. So Sam, please proceed. And thanks again, folks.
Well, thank you. First of all, I just want to thank Steve and Jamie and really thank people for joining us today. And may I say that we at Trimet are so appreciative of your support, April, and your agency's support of transit. I would also like to thank Director Chris Warner, Commissioners Joanne Hardesty, and also Chloe Daly for their support here. So thank you very much. And with that, finally this morning,
that's very nice. Thank you.
Throughout the pandemic, our frontline employees have been our heroes.
We're all dead.
Bravely powering through to keep our
heroes
moving. Our
heroes that you dragged through the fucking mud until the last second to give them a deal, and you didn't even give them a goddamn. You gave them 3% cost of living from last year. 2%, 2.5% for next year, which is not enough, and 2% for the year after. Your heroes are losing money relative to inflation. So stop calling them heroes when you're lying.
And also safely getting essential workers and those who really rely on transit.
All the essential workers are getting $10 an hour. We live in a backwards, upside down society where these people like him just sit there, lie to your face, tell you how important you are, and then screw you over, man. Wake up! You're being fucked. You're being fucked.
To where they need to go. But this morning, I would like to honor two of our bus operators who are dual heroes, not only for the service that they provide us every day, but for a recent incident in which they stepped up. This morning, I want to introduce to you Operator Craig Brown. I know I've seen him on. Just want to make sure that he's with us here and his video is going. Thank you. So last week, Operator Brown saved a life. And I want to repeat this to everyone. Operator Brown last week saved a life. He and Operator Johnson also helped him. Unfortunately, Operator Johnson could not be here. But the story that occurred was Operator Brown spotted a woman who jumped out of her car and ran onto the harbor viaduct.
Yeah, we heard this call. We would discuss this call on Twitter. So it's interesting that they are making a deal out of it.
Near the Tillicum crossing. He noticed that she looked distressed and feared that she was going to jump from the ramp. Operator Brown pulled his bus over and approached the woman. He wrapped his arms around her and told her he wanted to get her some help. Moments later, Operator Johnson came by in his bus and saw what was happening, and he stopped to help. Together, they were able to move the woman onto the bus and really wait for help to arrive. The woman said to both of them that she wanted to die that day. And Operator Brown and Operator Johnson didn't let that happen. So I want to tell you, Operator Brown, that it touches my heart to know that we have such caring and empathetic employees and people.
You got a few caring and empathetic employees. Yeah, that's true. You got a lot of kill 'em all employees too. But yes, it's nice that they did this. Absolutely.
Like you.
Did you give them a bonus? What did you do? Day off? What did you do for them? You're just giving them a little, you're using them for public relations is what you're doing.
Working here at Trimet. Both you and Operator Johnson embody not only our mission and our values, but the true meaning of humanity. And I want to really thank you for that. Operator Brown, it's my sincere pleasure to express my appreciation for you responded bravely. And I want to personally thank you for your selfless actions.
Where's Operator Brown?
So
Where is he?
I'll pause here and say that we have an award for you that we will be giving to you your next day of work, just as well as that I'm going to set a date up for you and I when the time is right to take you to lunch and really sit down and talk with you and celebrate this year. But I wanted to introduce you to the board, and I wanted to pause here and just open it up if you have anything to address the board about.
And now here's your chance,
I'll turn it
Brown.
over to you, President Warner, if you wanted to address the employee.
Just want to say thank you for all the acknowledgement. I don't really have nothing to say. It was something I think anybody would have done at that time.
Yeah, he's
well,
right.
Thank you very much. Absolutely, thank you. President Warner and board, any comments?
Craig Brown.
Well, gosh, what a great story and what a great performance by our employees to really recognize the crisis that was going on there and be able to provide some assistance. Thank you for Sam for bringing these folks forward for opportunity for the board to acknowledge them. I just want to say thank you very much, and maybe some of the other board members want to say something too.
We heard this live at Trimet Scanner, by the way. Yes, I'm sure you care.
Yes, Mr. Brown, I would certainly applaud you for doing the right thing. You could have kept on going on your bus. You could have said, hey, whatever happens, happens. It has nothing to do with me. But you brought humanity to Trimet and to your job, realizing that
he saved them all, as we say. He didn't kill them all. He did save them all. We'll give him credit, man.
Intervening to help someone in need is what we should all be about. So thank you very much for doing that, for stepping up and stepping out and performing above and beyond what you're normally called to do. So thank you.
Energy.
I guess I can jump in then. Director Gonzalez, I saw you unmute yourself as well. Operator Brown, thank you just so much for that act of selflessness and service. There was a quote that I'm just reminded by when I heard that story, and it is, everybody is somebody's somebody in life. And so just wanted to share that, and perhaps for that woman, you were that somebody that day that she needed. So thank you again for just exemplifying what it is to truly serve our community and our members. And that's all I have, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very
The only thing I can think to add to all of this, Mr. Brown, is you bring great honor to the agency and to the uniform and to the public service we all represent. Thank you so much for taking a brief moment to make a very humane decision.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I just want to echo what my other fellow directors have said. And I know in a short window, you had to stop and analyze and make a quick decision.
How come that didn't make the news, by the way?
Safety of those on the bus, if the bus was full, and decide on your own safety and her safety. And that split the time that you had was really crucial, but it shows compassion. It shows love for those that are part of our community, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, look at your nice smile. Yes, it's a very heartwarming story, and I think he deserves paid day off. And he's going to take him to lunch, which is unbelievable.
I just want to echo the same sentiments.
Why didn't this get in the news, though? Why wasn't there a news story about this? I was surprised that there was no mainstream media article about this.
That others have already said. I can't add to it. Just thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just say one thing, which is that our
I have to call you back,
bus and
Ron.
max operators, are out
All
there
right.
in the community all the time and keeping an eye on what's happening. And this is just another example of how our employees really have an impact beyond just providing good service to our riders. We've heard stories in the past of bus drivers coming to the aid of folks, and so it's just heartwarming. And thank you for saving a life. It's the type of thing that's impossible to measure, but we're very grateful.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, it's very lovely.
Again,
Thank you.
thank you to both Operator Brown.
Now, who's the other
Johnson.
operator? There's another one.
Sam, I'm going to turn it back to you if you have any.
I want to hear about the contract.
Proceed if you have anything else on the general manager's report this morning.
Yeah, thank you, President Warner. Just wanted to end with Operator Brown. Thank you for your service and dedication to our region and the humanity efforts that you've shown us. Want to say thank you, and we will be in contact with you very soon. And with that, Mr. President, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the general manager based on the presentation or other things that the board wants to talk about with him? I'm seeing nobody raising their hand, so I'm going to move on then to the consent agenda. And you can see that now on the screen. The consent agenda for anybody watching for the first time includes items that are considered to be routine and may be approved by the board in one blanket motion. However, any board member may remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion or questions by requesting such prior to the consideration of this portion of the agenda. I'll point out we have only two items on the consent agenda. The first is approval of the board meeting minutes of March 24, 2021, and then we have a resolution, a resolution that would be requiring, indicating that ordinances be read by title only because we do have an ordinance on the agenda today. So first off, is there any item that anybody, any board member would like to have removed from the agenda or have questions about? Hearing none, then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Move to accept.
Second.
That's Keith, is there a second?
Linda, second.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Let's move on. We have three resolutions on our agenda for the day. The first is Resolution 21-04-15, which is authorizing a new working wage agreement with Division 757 of the Amalgamated Transit Union.
All right, this is why I'm watching.
Our most important agenda items for the day, or is the most important.
Pay attention.
So, Mr. General Manager, I turn to you to introduce this item.
I am extremely excited, Mr. President, members of the board.
Okay, let's listen.
I cannot be happier to bring this resolution before you today. It asks for authorization to execute a new working and wage agreement between Trimet and ATU 757. This is the result of hard work and compromise, coming together to find common ground, fair balance between a need.
What a bunch of shit! Oh my God, he dragged us all the way out as long as possible. And then he gives us this shit? It was Trimet that was holding this up. It wasn't a union.
needs of our union employees.
Look what they got
and
whited
the
out here.
agency as we together continue to provide safe and reliable transit services for our community.
Oh, Jesus.
I want to stop and just really thank ATU President Shirley Block and all of her entire negotiating team. Really appreciate it. I know Bill's on today, but also I want to thank our negotiating team, Director of Labor and Employee Relations, Laird Kuzak, Executive Director Kim Sewell, and also Executive Director Roland Hoskins, and the Trimet negotiation team for their determination and efforts that led to this contract agreement.
Yeah.
I also want to thank our union employees at Trimet who voted to approve this agreement. I appreciate.
They vote yes on everything. It's always the same. It's like 9-1. You know, there's always a 10% that can see a little bit further, but there's a 90% that are happy to have a job, so they're going to vote yes on anything. They would have taken anything. There's no activism at the Trimet Union.
Appreciate the hard work of our union employees. It does not go unnoticed. We know that you are the backbone of our agency. I strongly recommend the board's approval of this resolution. The agreement would be retroactive to December of 2019, and it will run through November of 2022. There are many details of the agreement in your packet, and both Executive Director Kim Sewell and Laird Kuzak, they are here to answer any questions. But before I do that, I want to say two things. One is that I was able to talk with Krista Cardova from the union, and Shirley is not able to be here. She's on vacation and she's out of cell phone range. But she sent the message to me to just thank all of us for the partnership. She wanted to thank her union members, just as well as the agency, for coming together and working the details out and really coming to this agreement here. So I want to just thank Shirley and the negotiating team, but I also want to give Kim Sewell and Laird, Roland Hoskins, and the Trimet negotiations teams also I want to just thank them of all of the time and the effort that they put in to make this approved, to come to an agreement and for us to be able to ratify it and bring it to you today. So I'll pause here, President Warner, for any questions or.
So they're not going to go into this at all. It's just going to be like.
Thank you, Sam, for that introduction. What I would say first off, again, agreeing with you and recognizing our staff and the union folks for.
There's a good breakdown of this on the blog or on the if you know how to navigate to the trimet.org site. You can see the documents related to this. It's all spelled out there. Or you can go to my blog where I talk about the documents. I lined them all up on my blog. You can see how much each thing is costing Trimet. It looks to me like the company really got most of what it wanted, which was privatization of some of the apprentice program, and they got that. Some of it is now being out of Trimet. It's not very clear what actually happened, and they never make it clear. They never give you like, this is how it was before and this is how it is now. It's not black and white, you know. Everything is shrouded in mystery with this stuff. They don't make it black and white. It's intentionally made so you can't understand it.
Working hard. This was a lot of work. I know there was a lot of hours spent on this, and hopefully you will acknowledge that with our team and do whatever you can to help recognize them and deal with that time they spent away from their families and other things. So again, I think it's a great piece of work. I will point out for anybody watching that the board has been briefed pretty thoroughly on the contract negotiation and the elements of it, and they are in the packet. If you want to look at them online, you can see all of the elements. But I think I'll turn it over to the board to see if they have any questions or comments before we actually take a motion to approve this item. But I think it will be approved quite easily, Mr. General Manager. So I'm going to turn to the board. Comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I really applaud the ATU 757 and Trimet for coming to an agreement that was soundly approved by the membership of ATU. I think that's it's a lot of hard work, and it's very challenging. And typically, negotiations are can be very adversarial, and oftentimes become personal. And so I again applaud both sides for getting that work done. But I must say that I was disappointed at some of the testimony this morning in regard that came from ATU leadership.
What? Like what?
Because we can't do anything about what happened yesterday. This is
a common tactic that all these elites use all the time. You hear it everywhere. We can't do anything about what happened in the past. We can only look forward. This is how elites work. They fuck you, and then after they're done fucking you, they say, well, we can't look in the past. We'll look in the future. This is such a common thing. You hear it in every venue of the powerful. You know, we're going to be better going forward. Well, they're not going to be better. This war against the union has gone on for more than 10 years. It's takeaway after takeaway after takeaway after takeaway.
A place where the ATU 757 and their members and the management of Trimet have come together in an agreement. And so they must move forward with that agreement, knowing that yesterday is yesterday's news and cannot be changed. Adversarial posturing is destructive and a distraction to the goal of responsible leadership, to work in concert with management to serve the public interest. I'll say that again. Adversarial posturing.
So he's written this out. Notice, this is written out. This is not coming off the top of his head. Interesting.
Is destructive and a distraction to the goal of responsible leadership to work in concert with management to serve the public interest. So please, going forward, remember that. Your responsibility as a leader is to work together with the leadership of Trimet and vice versa.
No, stop. Stop. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. This is bullshit, okay? This has all been on Trimet. This has not been the union that's been creating the problem. Okay, this is Trimet. And he's just, I can't believe this is coming out of his mouth of all people. I was hoping this guy was going to be a little bit more progressive, but now he's regressive. He's acting regressively here.
Best interest of the public.
The best interest? You got to be kidding me. You know how much they spend on wasteful capital projects, but the union members are somehow taking down the public. This is neoliberalism right here, folks. It's right in front of your face. This is the neoliberal line, and it's a lie.
Thank you.
So he wrote this out. So they set this up. We can't hear you, Warren.
You're muted.
You're muted, Bruce.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. So again, is there any other board members who wish to provide input before I call for a question? Call for a motion, I should say.
Look at this great.
I'm seeing none.
Well, I just want to say real quickly, just thank you to both sides for putting together a contract that really serves the interests of both management and labor.
Does not.
I just want to piggyback and say thank you particularly to our ATU members for the last several weeks for coming and testifying and sharing their input and their stories. I know that sometimes 8:30 in the morning is not the ideal time, but just really want to appreciate folks for crafting just very, just powerful stories of why this relationship matters, your commitment and passion to work at Trimet. Thank you. It just really carries through, and really also appreciate our team, our labor team at Trimet for reaching to this point.
I'd like to just simply state that this process revealed how important the upward mobility pathways are for our workforce. It really revealed how vital apprenticeship programs are as a piece of the puzzle. It showed us how critical the apprenticeship program is and how much it's important that we answer how we maintain a robust pipeline and the robust apprenticeship model as we transition technologies and all of the other transitions that we make to our infrastructure. So I really I congratulate everyone that stuck to it and worked to the final hour to get through this agreement. And I want to also acknowledge that it would be really vital for us to leverage all of that interest and all of that passion for these programs as we look ahead past the agreement to address all of the important issues that came up in the process. There is so much work left to do now in making sure that those programs really deliver on the value to our workforce, to the state of Oregon's economy, and to the industries that we serve. Thank you so much, and let's continue this great conversation of how we adapt to what's ahead. Thank you.
Gee, okay. Well, they're not going to get into any details, so it's just nothing.
All right, with that then.
It's just cheerleading.
The board ready to make a motion to approve resolution number 20-04-15.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I hear a motion by Director Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Gonzalez, I believe.
All right.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion?
Look, nobody did any top chat here. Nothing.
On this resolution? Hearing none, then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve resolution number 20-04-15, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okie dokie.
Is there any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions?
Oh.
Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. And congratulations to Trimet staff and to the AT. This is good, and hopefully we can.
Yeah, and that'll be a good place to end it here. Yeah, I'm going to say this again because it needs to be said, and you're not going to hear from them. It was Trimet that dragged this all the way out. It was Trimet. They did it on purpose. Okay, they did this on purpose. These are unethical, overpaid technocrats using government money, taxpayer money. Who knows how much they paid the outside litigants for this thing to drag it out this far. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm sure. And then in the end, they came up with something. You know, it's all big game. It's a big scam. And there was nothing here worth listening to, really. It was nothing. This section of the board meeting is nothing. You know, just a bunch of elitists in charge of your transit system.